Chapter 2, The Clusterfuck, my book. Disclaimer, some words were used in Portuguese on purpose. 2. The video explaining difficult vocabulary and structures will be posted only for members of the Golden membership on Buy Me a Coffee. The link is in the description. Some parts were highlighted in bold to draw your attention to the vocabulary. 4. If you still haven't watched or read the introduction and chapter 1, just click on them or see the link in the description. Before going into the intricacies of what it feels like to be a female immigrant in England and the humiliations that I went through when I decided to come back to London in November 2015, I need to explain my situation both emotionally and financially. Amados, I have never been rich. My family falls into the category of middle-class citizens in Brazil. I studied in a public school. You know that in British English, public means private, right? And in 2015, when I was in the US, I was close to being skint. However, I had the help of my father, who was there for me in times of need. I also had a freelance job as a translator, so I earned a few quid here and there. When things went awry in the US, I had two choices: going back to Brazil or going back to Europe and try to make a living. I wanted to prove to myself and to everybody else that I was not a total loser and that I could get back on my feet without my axe. The problem was that my mental health was completely maladjusted, aka I was more messed up than Britney when she attacked the car with an umbrella. So I was definitely not prepared for what living in England as a migrant woman is like. But my friends, I was hurt. I was deeply hurt, and I thought I needed closure. I thought I needed to look my ex in the face and see him looking me in the eye and telling me that he didn't love me anymore. You think I was stupid? A dimwit? A plonker? All of the three? I couldn't agree more. The whole lot of synonyms could not define my mental health, my mental state back then. Years of patriarchy made women believe we have to fight for men. We have to fight for everything. It made us believe we are not worthy of anything. I really believed that. So no wonder I crossed the ocean with only a few quid in my pocket, lying to myself about closure. If I were to go back in time today, I would tell myself, woman, you had closure when he decided he didn't want to marry you in the first place and didn't move a finger when you decided to go back to Brazil. You had closure all the times he gaslighted you, saying you were an encostada and throwing money at your face, saying you could not afford yourself financially and apologizing afterwards. Yep, that happened. But I wasn't who I am today, so there I went. I should tell you though that I'm also quite good at pretending I'm all right. This is called a coping mechanism. I might trip over in life, but I will trip over with class, sister. When I decided I would catch a flight from Miami, Florida to London, I had decided that I would pop in Ireland first to see my best friend Camilla, who was living in Galway back then. And so I did. First stop, Galway, Ireland. I had been Northern Ireland before, but never to the Republic. In November 2015, I set foot in Galway, the coastal little town in the western part of Ireland, to see Camilla. Camilla is a sister to me. She knows all about me. She has been by my side in both the bad days and the golden days. She's a friend who knows the beachy side of me and knows the underdog lover side of me. Camilla and I met in 2007, in our first year of uni. And even with the highs and lows of any good long-lasting friendship, we managed to stick together all these years. In 2015, she was living in Galway as a language exchange student, and I had to pay her a visit. Those 2 fortnights in November 2015 with her, first in Galway and then in London when she came to visit me, felt like a dream come true. We had always imagined ourselves living abroad together, and those 2 weeks were cathartic, to say the least. Ireland, one more time in my life, felt like home. I don't know how to explain to you, but despite the dreadful weather, Galway and the islands as a whole felt like home. The narrow cobbled streets, the pubs with live music and smell of fart and Guinness, The handsome man with Cillian Murphy's eyes. Have you noticed the Irish eyes? Mixture of big black pupils and pale blue eyes. They are all the same, and I love it. Plus the lack of confidence and vitamin D, disguised by smiles and alcohol, felt somewhat familiar to me. I believe in other lives, you know, so I knew deep down Ireland was once my home in some other life. But we shall come to this later. After a nice and crazy week in Galway, what happens in Galway stays in Galway, right? I would move to my next stop, London. London is calling to tell you the message. London is calling you, and the message ain't pretty. It's funny that in some moments of your life, no matter how deep the rabbit hole is, you feel as though you want to dig it even more. And that's what I did, sadly. I came back to London and I don't remember every detail. My mind cleverly blocked part of it, but I remember staying in hostels and couch surfings for the first few weeks. Yep, that is how I survived. I did not have a home. I don't remember the nitty-gritty of how C and I contacted each other, but I started seeing him again. We were so immature and acting oblivious of the whole situation that we kept hanging out together. He would introduce me to his friends, take me to parties, and now in hindsight, I have no idea how I put up with that. I remember acting nonchalantly when someone asked at a party if we were still together. And I would reply adamantly with a straight face, "No, we're just friends." Bollocks. You know what they say. It's not a lie if you believe it. I would blatantly lie about any questions related to dual citizenship. A random person would ask me, "But can you stay here legally?" I would answer, "Yes, I'm sorting out the papers." Bollocks again. The truth is, I wasn't sorting out anything. As far as I knew back then, no immigration lawyer would take my family's case. I remember crying my eyes out the day I came back from one of my attempts to get the dual nationality from Italy back in São Paulo, and the lawyer said point blank, "Your case is impossible. I'm so sorry." The lawyer was wrong because I did get my dual nationality years later, but I'll tell you more about it later in the book. At that time though, I really bought the story the immigration lawyer told me about my dual nationality being possible to obtain, and I cursed my last name over and over again. Big deal having Ponticelli as my last name. It's fucking useless if I can't get the dual nationality. I hate it. I hate it. A child throwing a tantrum, right? But after the tantrum, sadness started taking over me. I had failed at my relationship. I had failed at obtaining my dual citizenship. I had failed my family. I had failed at my job in Brazil. I had a good job prior to this whole clusterfuck with my ex. I was feeling so down in the dumps that I developed a temporary psoriasis. If I ate, drank, or thought certain things, my skin would become red with scaly patches all over it. My face would become something out of a Mary Shelley's book. I looked like a monster when my psoriasis hit. My anger, my resentment, my lies usually got the best of me back then. My anger. Let's correct this pronunciation. My anger. To wrap this up, in November 2015, I was back in London, living in different houses like a gypsy and working in a cleaning route. I was living a lie, a big fat lie, and life would rub this in my face every step of the way, and in the worst way possible. Working with Brazilians. Important notes. Encostado in English is slacker, but let's face it, in Portuguese is way better. It's not a lie if you believe it. It's a catchphrase used by George, one of the characters in Seinfeld, an old American sitcom. And Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, which is very important to read. Like, you need to read this book if you haven't. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to become a member of Buy Me a Coffee, the link is in the description. I'll send you more next week. Bye!